Today I have Honorable Omar Jammeh. I said Jallo.
No, that's fine.
Is the National Assembly member for Janjambure very familiar with tourism? You were a tourism officer. Why? Tourism
I
officer
was
or
a destination manager for Janjambore.
for Janjambure on
Yes.
the Gambia Tourism Board.
Not on the Gambia Tourism Board,
But
but on the Janjambore Tour Guide Association, but
ah,
through the support of International Trade Center and the Youth Empowerment Project.
great. Okay,
Yes.
you got a surname, new surname today.
Yeah, Jalo. Well, plus are my uncles. So
Okay, so welcome to this edition of the Verified.
thank you, Mustapha, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Great. This is the first time, of course, this program also hasn't been for long. So today we're talking about a number of issues. But first, parliamentary resolutions, executive's compliance of parliamentary resolutions. Of course, we will talk about answers to parliamentary questions, as you and I have dealt with before. There are a number of issues relating to that. But let's look at parliamentary resolutions. Um, just yesterday, we started with the Russian oil scandal. Of course, we can start now and go backwards. Just recently, the Parliament has finalized its investigation into the Russian oil scandal. Folks don't call it a Russian oil scandal, but
The petroleum.
yeah, petroleum scandal.
Yeah.
And there were a number of recommendations, including Shenshaw, the two ministers of Interior and
The then energy minister.
yeah, then Energy Minister, who is Mr. Job,
Job, yes.
and who is now Tourism Minister, and the Interior Minister, who was IG,
Then.
Inspector General of Police.
Yes.
Um, are you aware of government's response to this?
So far, so good. I'm not aware of any response from the government. However, I understand that government is scheduled for the next session, which is in September, to come and give response to the effect.
That's interesting because the government said in their press conference yesterday that they've responded to the parliament on this subject. Did you read the statement?
Yeah, I do actually. And if I have to be honest to you, that's where I was disappointed
Mm-hmm.
by the executive arm of the government.
Mm-hmm.
For the fact that they have not formally reported to the National Assembly,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was in any way right for them to make such a statement and also aligning it to the National Assembly
Yeah, because
on
they
issues that they have not really reacted on. It's not really fair in any means.
yes, in fact, I think government are acknowledging. But yeah, they did say that they have uh, they have responded to the parliament on the issue. So we can go a little bit into the detail of the subject. The first thing is that um, there were wrongdoings that were found.
Exactly.
The parliamentary inquiry, they look at the oil that was imported into the country, where rules were not followed, due process was not followed.
Follow.
And this is clear. The police ended up arresting one of the individuals involved, and then somebody intervened to let him go.
Exactly.
And now, somehow, the authorities are not punishing anyone for wrongdoing. They seem to be saying that yes, we will stick to all the reforms that are proposed, but no one seems to be held accountable for what happened.
Yeah, this is what we call normalization of grave issues in terms of governance. It goes back to the same thing by understanding the fact that the government is not in any way committed to fighting corruption. Because for me, the petroleum saga alone is enough to actually set examples in terms of holding officials to account.
Mhm.
Let's even forget about the censor part of it. We look at, you know, the economic losses, that actually happened in the course of the petroleum saga, and also looking at the games that were played around having the monies to be transferred from the Gambia to Dubai, and letting that go. For me, this is something that I cannot really understand. And having someone who is exploiting our economy being given that self-bail.
Yeah, but the whole point is that happened, and then nobody is held accountable.
Yeah,
for
this
it.
is even my point.
Yeah.
And you still have the same people working under the same government.
Yes, but the government, and that's, I guess that's also the concern that most people have. Now, the government always claims we are fighting corruption, we are interested in it, but they also keep dragging their feet.
This is why I
So
said
they keep taking excuses.
Instead, government is normalizing corruption.
So, I mean, if you look at the beginning of let's start from the beginning of this crisis. Two companies came first, and they were supposed to supposedly import oil into the Gambia. They brought in, that's how Apogee came.
Yes.
And so these two companies were not licensed to trade in oil now.
Exactly.
That was the parliamentary finding.
Yes.
And Apogee came and was trading itself within the Gambia, but also through these two companies. So it seems that Apogee was both active within the Gambian economy as a trader.
Yes.
But also they were also illegally trading through companies that were not licensed. When itself was not licensed.
Exactly. This is why I said the whole thing was like, for me, I say it as I see, because, looking at the way everything happened within these two entities, Apogee including the other two companies, you realize that they were just taking us for a ride. And after findings revealing that these three companies were not even registered in this country, for me, I believe that's where action should start. Because they were not alone in the process.
Yeah.
We have to understand that. They were enabled by individuals within our government institutions.
Yeah.
And those people, I believe, should be liable to these crimes.
Yeah. But don't you think
this is also what the parliament resolved to. So the problem we have here is, why is government not acting?
Seems to always be saying we are investigating.
And why now is government going out to the public, misinforming the public by telling the public that, yes, we have reported back to parliament in terms of actions that we were required to take in reference to the resolutions, when in reality that isn't done.
So here they said also that that the findings of both the FIU and the central bank are inconclusive, irrespective of so let me read the whole statement. The FIU investigation was then shared with the police and the central bank for further investigation. Both the police and the central bank conducted investigations and reached inconclusive findings to the effect that the fundamental question in respect of source identification of the funds came from oil proceeds. This is the fact that it's oil proceed, and the fact that this oil it's an embargoed oil from Russia is not in doubt.
Yeah, I wouldn't speak on behalf of the committee here.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that part to say the investigation by FIU and the police wasn't conclusive.
The central bank.
And the central bank wasn't conclusive. For me, the reason behind it may be for the FIU, they played their role perfectly by raising the red flag to inform the central bank and the police that there is this saga going on.
Yeah.
And investigate, because with FIU they also have a limit in terms of financial investigation.
Yeah.
So the burden lies on the central bank to establish
Mm-hmm.
if really there were fraud around the whole, surrounding the whole thing,
Transaction, yeah.
transaction,
Yeah.
and also
Because that's what
with the
FIU does.
police.
They flag suspicious transactions.
Exactly. So it is the police and the central bank that fail in their
To
responsibility
investigate.
To investigate.
But here is for me about the central bank. Here is the thing that's very interesting.
Yes.
Is that the FIU report came out in October 2023, and it teased out all the issues that are wrong with this transaction. The central bank visited these private banks and started taking interest in this subject in August 2024. That's 1 year
Yes.
after the FIU report
Yes.
was issued.
Yes.
And only few months after the parliamentary committee summoned them. So the central bank, it would seem, was not interested in acting.
You know, if you also look at the part of the motion to establish a parliamentary committee to probe into the petroleum saga,
Yeah.
it followed a process.
Yeah.
Because Honorable Jawara and Honorable Jallo,
Yes.
they work around it extensively.
Seni Jawara and Samba Jallo.
Exactly.
Both
the two right
NRP,
honorables, yes, both
Yeah.
NRP. There were questions that were flowing to the executive in order for them to get the information that they really need in order to justify to the National Assembly why they need
for parliamentary inquiry.
Exactly. So for me, that's where the central bank got a signal that something is happening, something is boiling. Let's start taking action.
But even at that, so the central bank took action 1 year later. That is when the parliament already started an investigation, and the parliamentary investigation summoned them. After the summon was when they visited the banks.
Exactly.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
It would seem that they would not have acted
exactly if there was no signal from the members of the National Assembly in terms of sending them questions in relation to the petroleum saga. So for me, that's where government get normalizing corruption practices in our institutions on daily basis.
And here is what is super interesting about this whole thing. So the government said central bank has sanctioned two commercial banks following inspections prompted by the Financial Intelligence Unit and is conducting a special audit.
And yet, 1 year.
But then they claim the central bank actually did these actions immediately after the FIU report was received. But this is not true.
It's not.
Because the central bank, according to this report, this is from the central bank.
Okay.
The central bank said they've made the visit course on August 27, 2024. That was the first time they visited the banks, and that was the first time they engaged the banks on this subject.
So you can correlate that to
this is misinformation.
Exactly. It is the order of the day, misinformation.
So, and the interesting thing is that that I find interesting is that in fact the central bank says that so they're saying the central banks lacks the mandate to pursue criminal investigations of the three companies in question and cannot secure conviction for crimes such as money laundering as stipulated in the Money Laundering Act. They were sort of the parliament has asked them if there was any lost opportunity by central bank failure to act. And so the central bank was avoiding that question by saying, oh no, we don't do any criminal investigation, but therefore you know that. Therefore, the central bank was a banking supervision department.
Yes.
And they sent them the report so that they sanctioned the banks. Exactly. And it's quite interesting, isn't it?
Quite interesting. And it seems until now nothing has been done.
Yeah, and the other issue that I was trying to understand, it's the issue of police investigation. Okay? So the police heard about this subject, and that let's talk about tax first. The GRA was supposed to file a tax.
Yes.
Was supposed to charge.
The company should file a tax return.
Exactly.
Yes.
And the other issue is that they didn't, right?
They didn't.
But now the government seems to be focused on the two companies that are.
They cannot file a tax return because their companies are not legal.
Yes, but also the two companies that Apogee had utilized have also not made any financial gains.
Right.
So it seems to be interesting that government is wasting its time to ask tax of two companies that have made no business.
No business. Yes. But in another way, for me, with my understanding as well, it seems the government at some point has replaced those two companies that Apogee has established. So in a situation where those companies should get economic gains, it is individuals who are making money for themselves. Because the report or the findings also reveal that there are individuals who were receiving like 600K.
Yes.
So possibly this were monies that were supposed to go to some of these companies.
Yes, I noticed that too. Yeah, there were
you know what
there were
I mean?
allegations.
Exactly.
Some couple of people
exactly.
were
And it
getting
seems, because for me, because I understand part of what happened around this petroleum thing, there were betrayals.
Okay.
Some companies were betrayed, and as such, they went out there to also
Fight back.
Fight back. You know what I mean?
And the reason why spill the beans.
And the reason why they fought back was at some point they realized government officials or government institutions through individuals were taking their positions or the benefits that they were supposed to make. So that makes them to speak out.
So sort of backstabbing each other.
Exactly.
Because there was a fallout of a profit.
Exactly.
That's interesting. But then again also, I mean, what do you think should have been the response to by the government? Because the police started investigation. Someone told them to stop. And yet the government knows that. But they wouldn't even reveal the name of that someone.
They wouldn't. Wouldn't.
And the parliament itself could not establish who exactly did that. Even though they said that there was a contact between the committee.
They said there was a particular minister, whatever, who called the IGP, according to the report.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For him to grant this individual a bail.
Yes.
And it was even a self-bail without a sortie.
Yes.
Considering
the gravity.
Exactly. So I think everything was treated light, and it also indicates how the executive were central in the whole process.
But doesn't it show that it doesn't seem to me that a minister can get away with this? Doesn't it show that somebody much more powerful?
This is beyond the minister, I believe. This is beyond the minister.
It seems
you ask the minister, with my little understanding, he will tell you with his wish alone, he would not really act in such a manner. But he must be instructed by someone somewhere.
Because even the so-called resolution, the so-called policy statement they issued, if you read it, it's quite vague.
Very well.
But the only thing it did was that it normalized Apogee's existence within the market.
Exactly.
So it seemed to me to be the case that Apogee was not an accident, but in fact it was carefully.
For me, the whole thing was carefully crafted. Carefully crafted in a sense. When Apogee were coming, they prepared other two companies to support them in the process, in terms of legality and all not. And this is where some of these authorities came in and said, look, I don't think there's a need for these other two companies. We can come in and give you the support. And even by extension, suppressing other players in the petroleum industry who are legally registered. Because if you listen to Jar Oil
and others,
and others, you will realize that they were not fairly treated.
Yeah.
During that period, they were denied for almost everything, and allow Apogee fuel to roll in the market.
I saw the WhatsApp communications between the two individuals who are behind Creed and Ultimate, and they are talking about how they could come here and buy everyone. It says, bro,
Bro, just send it.
Yes.
These people,
you can buy anyone.
You can buy anyone.
And so
with anything.
This is not the first time I have had an experience like this, because I've dealt with the Chinese whistleblower in the case of Dr. Banja also, and a similar situation comes, similar sentiment being expressed by a known Gambian. What does that tell you about the mindset of folks? I mean, both from within and outside of the Gambia. It seems to be the case that people think that this system is so messed up that, do it. You can just buy your way out of anything here.
That we can even connect to the actions of the executive by normalizing corruption practices in this country. For me, my thinking always is around them is they don't really see these actions as actions of grave crimes. So that also goes down, because looking at this Creed guy, the Ghanaian guy,
Creed Energy,
the Ghanaian guy, looking at, reflecting on his WhatsApp messages, would tell you that they're using our own African brother, come kind of play around us, and by extension even leading us to a process that was illegal. And going back to the messages, like when I read that message, to be honest, for me, I was really shocked having someone out there painting our ministers to be as cheap as peanut change.
Yeah, but the problem is that he must have either conducted some kind of due diligence.
Of course, yes.
Because they were not here by accident. You remember, they were contemplating either going to Ghana,
yes,
and other places.
Yes, but I learned because of the quality of the petrol, they couldn't get into Ghana.
So they carefully thought about it.
Yes, so they proceeded to the Gambia.
Yeah.
And when they came in, also, I believe with the contact they had with the authorities, they believe it will be very easy for them to go away with things in providing them with money. And this is what exactly they have done, until he was backstabbed as well.
So, I mean, looking back at this, I mean, we know the government failed to do anything about it. Looking back at the whole situation, what do you think? I mean, by the government, are they reluctant to do something about it by retracting to their own special modus operandi? That is, we are investigating, we want to follow due process and bury it.
Yeah, Mr. Darboe, the fact of the matter is, reflecting back from when the Apogee guy was arrested and having that communication from the top to say, release him, should automatically tell you that.
And him being visited by general manager of Petroleum,
and that the same general manager, in fact, telling members of parliament on their face, look, I'm not going to share any information with you. I get the backing of the top.
Yeah, because the top was involved.
And you know why I appreciate that answer from him?
Yeah.
That also brought the bat of that motion for this probe, because that language actually hurts those right National Assembly members, or those right honorable National Assembly members, because for them, their understanding was the general manager would be open to speak to them, and share information with them. But since he was reluctant not to speak to them, and by extension telling them that I get the backing of the top, they felt then the matter should be proved.
Yeah, it seems to be the case that someone more powerful than the minister.
Of course, yes.
Was
I wouldn't name names, but we were all
I mean,
part
yeah,
of this.
we had
So,
claims, even though there are.
yes. So basically, I think it will be even difficult for the executive to prosecute anyone, because what will happen is.
But is there even without difficulty? Is there even interest?
This is even the case. Yes, the whole money is gone.
Yeah.
One.
Everything is gone.
You know, the only interest there for me is, yes, you will be holding public officers to account.
Yeah, but if they are interested,
like let's say the then IGP.
Yeah.
You know, as revealed by the report.
Yeah.
Or the resolutions.
But they are not interested. They've not even talked about that in government response here.
But now they will be responding. They said the next
to the parliament.
To the parliament. That is next September.
Yeah.
I may not really recall the exact date, but September they are coming before us to respond to effect. And from there we will see. And for us, or for me, as a representative of Janjambure, my expectation should have been after, when this report was adopted, either orders should be sent on administrative leave, one, as a point of action, two, orders should have been arrested by now to be prosecuted.
But you know something. But
let's wait for their story.
You know something I do not understand about government behavior and their commitment, quote unquote, to fighting corruption is that they even whereas clear cases of abuse happen, so even whereas it's certain that at least one aspect or one wrong or two wrong happened and they are unacceptable, they still say send him on administrative leave, we will investigate. Seems to be at variance with good practices elsewhere.
Yes, because maybe you didn't find the person guilty yet, but the fact of the matter also is, Mustapha, I cannot investigate you when you are sitting on informations.
Yeah, that's true. But then at this particular point, I mean, all the state institutions that are involved in holding Apogee account failed to do it.
Yes, failed to do it. So they should be prosecuted.
Or at least someone face consequences.
Exactly.
And for this subject, it doesn't seem to none of it seems to be in doubt. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And another issue that disconnected me too, and I showed that I think you must have been in Parliament at that time, is the issue of the October 2021 fuel crisis, the fuel shortage.
Yes, I came to Parliament in 2022.
Okay, because the minister said that he made reference to Trafigura and ADAX.
Right.
Those are international traders who he said have stopped bringing product to the Gambia since the October 2021. Because October 2021 actually, there was a crisis, there was a situation where people at Petroleum were using fuel belonging to international traders.
Right.
And government had to step in to pay 25 million, and government could not prosecute that case. I thought maybe you had followed it. And up till today, even GRA alone was lost over $1 million in duty waivers. Yeah, in duty waivers from October to November.
Right.
Yeah, it was a serious case. He only mentioned it as a
reference.
Yeah, he just skimmed through. I guess journalists who were there are also not familiar with this subject. Let's move on to issue of another issue that has been mentioned in this is the acute kidney injury. You familiar with that?
Yes, I was in Parliament
when
the matter was laid
for a parliamentary inquiry.
And to the effect, there was a resolution after their investigations.
Yeah.
And since then, I would say, yeah, after some time, the ministry, through the ministry, came before the National Assembly to actually respond to the resolutions that were embedded. Yes, so yeah. Since then, we haven't had much from them. And even though I think maybe part of the resolution, maybe part that they implementing, that in fact I see as only targeting those that are in the rural communities, because the only thing I think they are actually more of implementing is the issuance of pharmacy license and also monitoring pharmacies, more especially around the rural communities. But aside from that, I'm not really sure if those that, or if those who were adversely mentioned, if there were any actions taken since then.
One of the things that I'm trying to wrap my head around is that I'm not aware of anyone being held to account for this. Are you aware of any?
This is even my point. Those that are adversely mentioned
Yeah.
in the report or in the resolutions, I haven't seen any one of them being held to account.
Yeah. I believe this is since 2022.
Exactly.
And
but you know, it should start with the minister.
Yeah.
I still stand on my point,
Yeah.
because in one of the debates on this AKI, my recommendations were he should resign. This is not about any other case. This is about people losing their lives and over 60 something or 71.
Yeah.
So for me, as such, the minister should take it upon himself, like the former IGP did during the Farba saga, to voluntarily resign and let it go. It's not about
and to that effect, there was a reckless, should I say, negligence
of course,
on the side of the ministry.
Yes.
Because according to the parliamentary inquiry, the AKI, one of the reasons contributing factors to relaxed regulatory framework or implementation of regulation was that there was a dangerous, quote unquote, dangerous conflict of interest.
Yes.
In such a way that the MCA officials who are pharmacists were also supervisors.
Supervisors, exactly.
And the ministry knew this because almost a year before this crisis happened, the Consumer Protection did a policy note and sent it to the ministry on this subject.
Yes.
And that seems to be at sync with your argument that yeah, the ministry did play a role.
Of course they do. For me, that have always been my conclusion. They played a role because it is their responsibility through the MCA to enforce regulations around medicines that comes into this country and that are also administered to patients. So if you also stand as an individual who is also a trader within the same business and also a supervisor or to serve a supervisory role, then you are already conflicted. Let's also look at the other angle, where staff of MCA also renting out their licenses to individuals, in fact, non-Gambians, to trade medicine in this country.
Yeah, but that's where they become supervisors. And that's also, so at this time, almost the entire list of MCA staff, from the executive director to the bottom, were all supervisors.
Yes.
And even the presidential committee went on to list them and categorize the subject as a very dangerous conflict of interest.
They were seriously conflicted.
Let's look at the beginning. Until the parliament amended it, the MCA Act, the drafters of the MCA Act, because they tend to always talk about, we don't have a laboratory.
Yes.
But the drafters of the MCA Act did know that.
Yes.
And they made a deliberate clause in the law to say that there should be a registration, which essentially means that every medicine that is supposed to be imported in the country should be registered. And by registration, you pay $300. You have to bring in a certificate of analysis from the country of origin, okay, by the regulatory authority of the country of origin.
Yes.
And you have to bring in a badge.
Yes.
And all of the 3 badges of that medicine and all of that. That by the regulators, by the drafters,
yeah,
now shifted the burden of testing on the exporting country.
Exactly.
It was to safeguard the population.
Population knowing fully that we don't have
don't have a lab. Yes, yes. And the interesting thing is the medicine that was imported, the MCA went ahead and did what it called listing.
Yes.
And listing is charged for $25.
Yes.
Okay? So because that's where the conflict of interest became dangerous.
Right.
Because if you are a player now,
yes,
you will charge yourself less.
Less, of course.
So you bring in listing for $25.
For, let's say, 20 products.
Yes. And you replace products that are supposed to be registered with listing.
Right.
So instead of paying $300, your people who you work with as supervisors
yes,
are paying $25.
Yes.
And according to all investigations, including ones done by journalists, all the products that were imported that killed the children were listed.
Yes.
So it means the product was illegally imported.
It was illegally imported, but then also it was the government that actually enabled it.
It seems to be the case.
That's the fact,
and the interesting thing is
that's the fact. And that would remind me, if you can connect it with the 2020 audit report on the Ministry of Health.
Yeah.
Do you know until now, until then at 2020, I would say, according to that report, Ministry of Health is still administering expired medicines. It reflects on the report. You find expired medicines on their shelves. Not only you find it on top of their shelves, but also you realize that they don't list them in their records as expired medicines.
There seems to be a lot of
issues. A lot of issues that need to be carefully addressed.
And so, I have also been thinking about this subject. I mean, maybe we'll come to it after the AKI issue. Okay, so if you look at the medicine that was imported also, they keep mentioning SET. But it was an MCA staff that signed it in.
Yes.
There was an MCA staff who was acting for SET.
MCAC were the enablers. And they knew what they were doing because it was a normal practice that they have been doing by compromising, the regulations that they were supposed to put in place simply because they were also traders, either directly or indirectly, because they rented out their licenses to individuals, not only renting out their licenses, but also they own their own pharmacies.
And the other issue that it's interesting is that the after the recall, the recall of all the medicine should have been concluded by October 2022.
Yes.
October 2023, I believe.
Yes.
But by December 2023, December 2022, in January to be specific, on the 1st of January 2023, a child died in Tangier for the same product. So this was after the recall, and nobody took responsibility for it.
As I said, it goes back to the same thing. It's like people who were given the responsibility to take charge, enforce the law, are the very people who actually were busy bending it because of their personal interest.
Mhm. And you know, it's interesting. The government is saying here that the case is currently before the court.
Yeah.
Justice, compensation, and healing for victims. So they said the case is currently before the court, and the court's ruling will determine further actions regarding justice, compensation, healing for victims and families.
Who takes the matter before the court? Was it the government?
It
were the families
Yeah.
who thought they were hurt, they were offended.
And the government is not listening to them.
Yeah, and the government is not listening to them, and the government is not holding anyone to account. Then they took it upon themselves and take it before the courts.
Yeah.
So when it should have been in the other way around.
Yeah.
By government holding individuals based on their responsibilities to be accounted for.
And this is 2 years ago,
Yeah.
or more than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And they are still saying the government is working with Indian authorities to file a case with made in to file a case.
When you should start it in the Gambia.
Yeah, but they are saying they are still working, like working for 2 years.
This is why I said even when you should even start it. If you cannot, something that you cannot institute in your own country, how can you go as far as India to initiate a case there?
Yeah, but so already
these are just flimsy excuses.
And so already I know, already it's clear on record, yes, on evidence, yes, clear, yes, totally clear. MCA staff was the supervisor who brought the medicine into the country.
Yes.
The medicine were not registered. They were therefore illegally imported.
Yes.
The Ministry of Justice knew beforehand, Ministry of Health knew, yes, beforehand about the conflict of interest and did nothing about it.
Yes.
And conflict of interest is what led to this mess.
Yes.
A child in Tanje died several months after the force recall was made, and yet no accountability.
That is the Gambia for us, sadly.
Yeah, but government seems to be always
normalizing.
Well, I don't know, but they seem to. Well, they did claim that they are going to do something. I mean, that
2022 to now, it is the families of these innocent children who took it upon themselves to file a case before the court, seeking for litigations.
And there is also another thing that, with regards to the acute kidney injury, and that's the amendment by the Parliament. But they're saying they are also trying to amend the MCA Act further.
Yes.
And I believe that's before the Parliament now.
Yes.
What do you think is the way forward in matters of this nature?
Yeah, for me, sometimes we take the excuse to say we don't have the right legislations. And we can take this AKI as an example in terms of regulations around having medicines to be certified. And having the drafters also understanding the fact that even though we don't have labs in this country, they gave the responsibility to the exporter to actually do that process. So for me, the case here is we have the laws in place. Our problem here is we're not really reinforcing them as expected. And government is not also taking it upon themselves to hold people to account on their wrongdoings.
And sometimes I ask myself, so do you not also think, Umar, is a case of jealousy of Lord Foran? Because, for example,
government government business.
So but in coming for government, is the the ones we are expecting to do something about this. That government won't fund it.
That is true, but you can see the same government, they will take excuse and tell you, okay, we are doing A, B, C. Maybe they will tell you, okay, it is at the courts, or they will tell you it is at the parliament, as if those structures or arms don't form part of government. This is always the excuse of the executive, and this is always the trick that the executive would play.
So, but you don't think also it's a case of the people we are expecting to take corrective actions are the people themselves implicated in wrongdoing?
Yes. Yes, that is in fact the simple interpretation from the top there.
Yeah.
From the top.
Because the Apogee situation,
Yes.
the Russian oil case situation,
Yes.
an order comes from someone to
Yes.
say, stop the investigation,
Yes,
and we don't even know who that person is.
Perfect.
Nobody will
You
tell
look
us.
at other investigations. Look at the GTB petition.
Gambia Tourism Board.
Board.
Yeah. I think you naturally brought it up. Let's move on to that one too. So the Gambia Tourism Board also, there was series of petitions, one of which come to be very useful in my work on Jammeh's assets. Very interesting. And they didn't put a lot of energy into that. So they just mention it as that an investigation is ongoing into that. They're saying the ecologies, tourism, and contractual issues. This form only a tiny part of that. It forms only a tiny part of that.
Press conference or what?
No, okay. The press conference. They just list it. They just said post-audit investigations into cases that are ongoing. Okay. So one of them is GT Board, ecotourism, and contractual issues. I believe the parliamentary, the petitions committee's recommendations is a little bit broader than this.
Yes, the resolutions.
Yeah.
There are recommendations that some individuals, by virtue of their positions, should be held to account.
Yes.
And none of these things
happened.
And you know what?
And that there should have been an audit also in comparing the GT Board building that they're currently occupying.
Yes.
With the mall.
The mall.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I think what the committee concluded at was the contract by itself was kind of flawed in between the owners of Tropics and the Gambia Tourism Board, because the original idea was Gambia Tourism Board should have been housed at Tropics,
at the
mall.
Yeah.
So things actually changed somewhere.
Yeah.
And no one even knows who actually changed it.
Yeah.
And GTB were given another plot of land.
Yeah. I've seen people even complaining that that place should be a protected area.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, in any case,
exactly.
And so what a lot of those recommendations were also not implemented.
You know, before coming,
and even the restoration of some of the staff, they're still demoted. Also.
Yes, they're still demoted and still being punished. Even though some actually left, because you know some of these people,
I think Adama left.
Yeah, Adama left, and I think Adama and someone. There are 2 or 3 that left. I think it's only Lamin Bojang.
You know, Adama's case is particularly strange because it tells you how vicious folks in Banjul are.
Yes.
Because by Banjul I mean the government.
Yeah, the government.
You know, because they make life unbearable for you.
Yeah.
When they make sure that they punish you to a point that it is human narcotic.
The only one taking the hit is Lamin Boja, because he is still in Yarasoma.
Yes, I know. Lamin is in Yarasoma.
But in fact what the resolutions actually recommended. Because
but not just Lamin, there is also what's his name? Baji, I think.
Baji, yeah?
I think Baji, something Baji. He has a...
I may not be familiar with him, but I understand most of them actually left.
Lamin and a couple of other people are still being punished.
Punished, yes.
And their positions are not restored.
Not actually. Though Lamin is restored.
They are rehired.
They are rehired.
But they are still being punished.
Yes.
They are not back to their positions. So, for example, Lamin is in Soma, where he from product development
And the resolution was saying they should be reinstated to the position they were serving at the time of their dismission.
Yes, but they do this because they want to make you regret your actions. So, for example, this is the case of Adam.
Yes,
Adama was lecturing at the university. He's the head of statistics at the GT board. They took him to Janjambure.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
I mean, no disrespect to Janjambure. I think your committee is fantastic, but then I don't think Adama is very useful there.
He was a line manager or a line director.
Yeah.
So you cannot demote him to a regional coordinator.
In which case he would lose his job at the university.
Not only that, that is a demotion.
Yeah.
A line director or a line manager, you bring in that individual to a regional coordinator.
Yeah.
Because the staffs at the region are regional coordinators.
Yeah.
And the time they were dismissing them, these people were not serving, or the time they were demoting them, they were not regional coordinators. They were line directors.
And the interesting thing, Omar, is that the parliament comes to find that Lamin is in Soma, actually, I'm being told.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's Lasa. This guy is Lasa Kujabi, I remember. Now, Lasa is in Basse.
Basse, yes.
And all those
Lasa
guys.
Do you think Lasa is still there? I think Lasa left.
I think he's still there.
Okay.
Yeah, he's still there.
Okay. I thought he even left.
He's
but
still
the
there.
fact of the matter is, that's where I have the problem.
Yeah.
With the Gambia government.
Yeah.
For me, we have a government that really don't respect the laws of the land.
Mm-hmm.
For example, you see the Tourism Board resolutions or the Tourism Petition resolution, rather.
Yeah.
It was adopted sometime in November. A case that have been dragging in Parliament well before some of us get into Parliament. You know what I mean? And the laws, you look at the standing orders, Section 100, says after a report or a resolution or whatever is adopted by the National Assembly, the government should update or report back within 30 days. It's very clear. November to now.
They haven't still responded.
They have never come forward to tell us what actions
they have taken.
They have taken.
And you see also the appearance of the tourism minister before the committee. I mean, he wasn't addressing them with dignity and with respect. He was shouting all over the place.
And that goes back to tell you, we still have someone there coming for a major overseeing for what I mean.
Yeah.
So it still boils down to the same thing. For me, that would be my interpretation.
Yeah.
Because Nila Korrabe Janeka to Korratio. This is my take.
Yeah, I agree with you. But then again, if you look at even the petition, the parliamentary investigation comes to confirm the allegations those people have levied.
Of course, yes.
And including even, they come to be useful to even my investigation into Jammeh's assets. Because some of the land they talked about was Jammeh's. Or was reportedly Jammeh's.
Good. If I want to touch that part, they would say, I'll have an investigation.
Yes.
But the fact of the matter is, other parliamentary investigations has revealed or connected these corrupt practices aligned to the GT petition.
Yes. Exactly.
So meaning it is almost the same thing, dragging from one area to the other without government addressing it.
Yes, and that's subject matter, and you are saying still now this resolution. So this is the third one. So we've talked about the issue of AKI and the parliamentary committee and the presidential committee. Yes. Not much is done in terms of accountability, even though in terms of cosmetic reforms. So they always talk to us about laws because those are convenient.
Yes.
It's always
by
easy
paper,
to,
not in fact by action.
It's always easy to change a law.
Whatever,
but in terms of putting people in prison who deserve to go to prison, that's being a problem.
Taking them before the courts.
Yeah. So AKI, the problem. We've talked about the second one, the
petroleum.
The petroleum problem. And this GT board petition problem.
I'm telling you, it was November we adopted the resolutions. 2024. We are now in what?
We are in 2025 August.
2025. The executive is still unable
To respond.
to respond. And now they schedule it for next September. And for reasons. Because with that also you have members of parliament that are pushing tirelessly to ensure that the executive respond back. Yes. And
the other issue is that there is also a resolution that the FPAC has pushed. The FPAC
I
has.
think the July-June FPAC resolution.
Yes.
On government accounts.
Yes. That also, I'm not sure there's been much action.
With that one, I can understand for now.
Yeah, but there have been passed resolutions that they've also
embedded
brought back
and all not. And the honest thing is it have boiled down to the same thing. For government not taking actions to address some of those resolutions. But my understanding also is with some of the institutions that were adversely mentioned by the audit report, we are going forward to FPAC to clear some of the issues that were flagged by the audit. So next session, I believe, the FPAC should come back to Parliament and update us in terms of what was addressed on their resolutions and what were not addressed by the respective institutions that were adversely mentioned.
And of course, I'm going to have information minister here to talk to him about these issues.
And please appeal with him before he start telling people that reports whatever at the parliament. Let him consult with the office of the clerk to verify some of these things.
Oh no, but he was here. Actually, to his credit, he didn't read the statement. It was read by finance minister.
But
I believe Ismail
organized the event.
He organized it. I believe he must have seen it also.
Good. So these are things he need to address. Because the Mansakunda is an important platform to inform Gambians, and if you are organizing a press conference to the effect, it will be always important to verify what your colleague executive members are coming up with. Yes.
And there is also two issues, and I think also a couple of issues that I want us to talk about, and that's the issue of parliamentary questions. Sometimes you write parliamentary questions and they are not answered, or they are answered but they are on sensitive matters, or they are answered and all the issues you asked are not provided. You've experienced that, no?
Lot of times.
Yeah.
Lot of times. And a typical example would be about the 189 tractors.
Yeah.
And the executives sometimes they think they play smart.
Yeah.
When they're not. Because the question, for example, myself, if I'm administering a question, I always know what I want.
Yes.
In terms of answers. And I always know you have those answers with you. So it's just a matter of getting the raw material from your end. So if you are trying to deviate, it is always easy to know. With the 189 tractors, for example, when I ask about it, I also ask for evidence.
Only 80 of which is supplied, or 88?
Not all is even supplied from the answers I got.
Yes. I think around 88 is supplied.
It should be 180. I think 30. It should be 60 that is supplied, I would say.
Yeah.
Yes, 60 is supplied. Yes.
60
is supplied by, what is the name of the?
UNA.
By UNA. They brought in 30 and later brought in another 30, to my understanding.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So Gaj won
the second part,
the second part.
But
until when I received my answers, Gaj never supplied. And the ministry has written to him. And until the time I received my answers, Gaj didn't respond.
There were a number of allegations that, in fact, the initial procurement
So you
went
get it.
ahead,
So
but
things
it
like
was,
that, you realize.
it was reversed.
Yeah, ministers are never willing to give you sufficient answers in terms of such contracts.
But there were others also. You asked about.
You look at the media contract.
Yeah.
For example, I think I asked more than 10 questions around the media contract. It reached to a point, doctor, I know, you know, he
got frustrated.
really, yeah, he got frustrated in terms of. So my last question that I asked doctor was to give me proof of the budget line that was used on the media contract.
Yeah.
He came before the plenary and said it was not his ministry's responsibility to give me those answers. Let me refer my question to another ministry. And I persisted to say it was his ministry that actually administered those funds. It was his ministry through his permanent secretary that made a request to the Ministry of Finance to request for those funds. So as such, I recommended that he should provide me with the answers. So he was let go that day actually by the Speaker of the House, but the Speaker made a ruling that he was going to consult through the parliamentary staffs or through the office of the clerk and the relevant ministries to find out who should really provide these answers. And to my understanding, for the next sitting, it has been revealed to me that Doctor is the one who is responsible to provide me with those answers.
But then there were others you asked that were also not replied.
Yes.
Particularly the mega bank issue.
Yeah, the mega bank issue. Also even with GTP.
Yeah.
There were things I asked, I never get answers.
But also the dollars.
Yeah, the
CBG was
the
forex support.
Yes, they gave me some answers.
They gave you some answers.
Answers and still.
No, the Ministry of Finance gave you answers.
Yes.
And said the documents are attached.
Yes, and this is what I meant when the documents were not attached.
Yes. And they do this. They do this all the time.
All the
but
time.
In fact, the Ministry of Finance, only gave you list of the names.
Names, the 10 companies.
Which, if we compare from the list we got from trade,
yes,
we would say is redacted.
Yes.
So they only give you limited number of names.
Yes.
Of beneficiaries.
And
refuse to give you
the entire list.
The entire list. But also the money they got.
Yeah, they got exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That is both ministries.
And they were required legally to reply to you.
Legally. By virtue of the standing orders.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we also applied for that data using access to information. They refused.
That's the government for you.
Yeah. And I'm sure there must have been other subject matters that
you know, and they will come behind, let's say, you know, just under the corridor and tell you, Honorable, why not you drop your these questions? Your this question seems, you know, question meant for the courts. And I would always tell them, no, these are not questions meant for the courts. These are questions meant for public to understand. It's as simple as anything.
I mean, where do you think the future of, government and parliament? Because government always talks about.
Let me be honest to you. For me, the best way to address these problems would be to push for the full autonomy of the National Assembly.
Okay.
You know,
you don't think the parliament is not totally independent?
No, we know. I have to be honest. I call this a semi-autonomy. Where are our money coming? Our budget coming from?
Come from Ministry of Finance.
It comes from Ministry of Finance.
Well, you make your own budget.
Yeah, we make our own budget.
You slash it however you want.
Look, you look at the budget. Okay, you realize not everything that you will request for, you can get.
Yeah.
So meaning the executive can always suppress you.
Yeah.
As an institution.
Yeah.
In terms of what should be disbursed.
Yeah, but Parliament can make its own rules if they want
to. Look, let me give you this typical example. Do you know the Community Development Fund?
Yeah.
That in fact reminded me about government not responding to questions. The Community Development Fund, which is approved by Parliament and in our budget for 2023, it's not released. I administered a question The minister came before the floor and said the funds were released, it were in the parliament account. When I made a follow-up, I realized no, that was never the case. It were the 2024 that was paid for. I made a follow-up question, they kept dragging the question until now. But I believe in September they will bring it back. And the Ministry of Finance is still sitting on the question. And this is not monies that you give to individuals. These are monies that are meant for our constituencies. It's just about 27 million in total that you plow back to our communities. And you are telling us the money is not available, or you are telling us I have given the money, when in reality, that is not the case. So it's not only about the executive not willing to give information to the National Assembly in the process of holding them to account or in the process of conducting our oversight. It also happened that they wouldn't give you sufficient information for your consumption and the public.
And another issue that I want us to discuss, I mean, parliamentary resolutions, this is very interesting, is the issue of, you have a situation sometimes where government so they avoid some people, get clamp on some people, avoid some on the same case. And of course, this we all know affects the integrity of cases a lot of the time.
Selective justice.
Yes. Look at the case of the passport scandal, the diplomatic passport. So they are prosecuting the case, they are prosecuting Mansa Sumare and Ibrahima Sane. Ibrahima is a protocol officer, quite a young guy who was in the coalition security, I think, at the time. After the 2017 was hired. And Mansa Sumare was also with the coalition, he was Barrow's driver. And then later on hired. These folks were involved. And Pui SM Jobade, who was director of protocols at the time. Now, these are the only people they are prosecuting. But we know there were, we did a story back when I was at Malaga, the investors who do not invest, showing how foreigners were also, who are ineligible holders of our diplomatic passports, were issued. 1,900 diplomatic passports were issued to ineligible holders. But no one is held to account for that.
Yeah, you know, what I also realize is with this government, whoever supports them, you don't fall on their trap in terms of holding you to account. They only hold you to account if you go against them.
Yeah.
And I will reference that to Mansa Sumare.
Mansa Sumare, yes.
Mansa Sumare, rather. You know, when Mansa was with them, when the marriage was smooth, they were not thinking of prosecuting him.
Yeah.
So until things fell apart, they brought him Pui as well, knowing maybe, you know,
he has no political significance.
He has no political significance. You know, they also try to tie him around the whole thing. And, you know, for Ibrahim, I didn't know him much, but also knowing he's a young, innocent guy, they leverage on those opportunities to actually put him in the old.
Because
when we still have foreigners in this country, as you have rightly said, over 1,000 people who are not eligible to hold our passports.
Yeah, 1,900.
Exactly. They didn't even think of retrieving those passports.
Back in the day, they also claimed that there was some 3,000 diplomatic passport books that went missing.
Yes.
What substance?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
And that tells me also about some issue relating to, and here they only talk about Mansa and Pui. So all those foreigners, all those big guys, people at the office of the president who issued them diplomatic passports, no one is talking about them.
No one is talking about them.
And the other issue is the case of the Gambian documents. I mean, we've just recently done a story about a guy, Project Rescue Children, and there was a con artist who got a birth certificate, this Gambia's new birth certificate.
Really?
Yeah.
The biometric.
Yes. For a child who does not exist. Yeah. Yeah. So it seems to be the case that access to Gambian documents are quite easy. And I've had incidents where folks from Europe can just get a birth certificate or passport by not.
But how is it possible with the biometric one? I think the biometric one came into play just to ensure that one is digitalized and two, things are regulated in a way that there will be no leakage in terms of...
they can make you birth certificate without even seeing you. Because this child they made a birth certificate for and it's authentic does not exist. There is no child called Maria. There was an authentic birth certificate for Maria. And if you can have
and this is why the Ministry of Health, no, that minister have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, it seems to be.
We don't need a lenient person, lenient individual in that ministry. A lot is happening there.
But do you think it's a case of leniency or it's just being corrupt through and through?
You know, the truth is.
And our denial to.
No, the truth. I would just say it. The truth here is, it all boils down to corruption. Because if it is lenient, it will be just one or two. But some of these things happen repeatedly. And what makes it sad, if they want to take action, they take actions, but they're very selective in terms of who they want to hold account and who they want to allow to work free in our communities.
But we are also quite lenient, aren't we? I mean, in terms of how we deal with corruption.
Of course, yes.
Let me give you this case and probably have your opinion on it. The issue of, you are aware of the GPPC, right? There was the case of GPPC, and we did a story about it, where the former managing director created a company that GPPC was issuing businesses.
Businesses, I understand.
And this
without following the procurement.
Yeah, and this we provide a proof of it. But yet they claim here that they are still investigating.
Gambia, everything is investigation.
Well, but they're saying they sent him on administrative leave and they are still investigating. I mean, in a case like
who is even investigating? Push it to the police.
But so they are saying the auditor is doing well. In any case, I have confirmed from National Audit Office there is no special audit ongoing.
Sure.
There is also a statutory audit for 2022 and 2023.
Yes.
That's ongoing at the GPPC. Now, but the issue is, if you have found somebody who has created a company, a private company,
Clear.
Do you not think that it's just natural, it's just okay that that person be sacked?
Of course, yes.
Just right
because
away.
That is a clear corruption practice on the surface.
Yeah.
There's nothing hidden in that.
Yeah.
And this individual is still giving business to this particular enterprise.
Now they said he is on administrative leave. Of course he is.
That's how they will. That's how they will kind of reach to a conclusion in terms of, just letting the whole thing go like that. Yeah.
What do you think is missing in terms of I mean, because of course there are some who are being prosecuted. We've seen that.
But very few.
Yeah. But there seem to be a lot more that are not being addressed.
A lot.
And I read through this government response. They've talked about procedures a lot and laws a lot and legal reform and all these things. In terms of your understanding of parliamentary procedures and corruption, is that the problem? Is our lack of laws or improvement on our laws or procedures, is that the problem? Is that the reason why we are having corruption, or the failure to punish it when we see it?
For me, I would say, even though there should be a room to improve on our legal provisions, for me, my belief is there are already laws that exist to actually address some of these problems. Our problem is the executive is just compromising. It's as simple as anything. Let's not forget, even with these reforms, they claim to say we need improvement on certain reforms. Who should do the reforms? It is 8 years now. There is no serious reform. 8 years.
Yeah.
The judiciary or the MOJ, let's say the judiciary reform, you find nothing. You go to the security reform, you find nothing. You go to the public service, it's the same. All that they are good at is recycling individuals
Isn't there, I mean, recycling...
who are in fact adversely mentioned in other reports as corrupt personnel. These are the kind of people they still kind of recycle. That is to say, they don't want to graduate from the old practices, but instead they want people who master the trade to come in and help them.
In terms of the issue of, would you not think also that if there is an improved transparency, just like we have increased openness, because you can have a government that's open yet not transparent. Because currently, after 2017, we had a government that's fairly open.
Open but not transparent.
Yes.
Yes.
But then, do you not think that with increased transparency, the government could be forced to act?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is what I think. This is what is happening.
Yeah.
If you look at what Gala is doing now, if you look at what Gomsa Boba is doing now, this is forcing government to be transparent in their dealings, because they understand right in their heads that, look, we have people who are conscious out there who are putting an eye on our daily dealings. So as such, they try to do it better as much as they can. However, sometimes they tend to downplay with some of these things.
Yeah, because I mean, all of the resolutions you are talking about as Parliament, maybe the resolutions are already transparently published and everything, but then all of the questions you have asked, they were not replied to.
Not.
And in a lot of the cases, some I was aware of personally.
Right.
That still borders on lack of transparency.
Yes. You see, some of these things I will tell you, you know. For example, I protest to an extent, you know, it brings that kind of misunderstanding in between me and, let's say, the clerk of the National Assembly. Because sometimes, you know, I'll go to him and tell him, look, bro, it seems you are not doing what is right because I'm not getting what I want. And when in reality, you know, these are not his faults. It is the fault of the executive who would sit there not doing almost anything. And in fact, trying to hide informations that are really relevant in holding them to account. Yeah.
But then, yeah, well, Parliament is a political institution.
Yeah, it's a political institution.
And you have people...
This is why I talk about the, let's say, a total autonomy of that National Assembly. Because
yeah, but even when even where you have autonomy, you're still going to have folks from MPP, UDP.
Yeah, that is true. But you know, we are humans.
And they would be involved.
We are humans.
Yeah.
You know, for me, sometimes with my personal interaction with some of the representatives from other parties, you realize inside them, for example, NPP NAMs, you realize inside them, some of them are not happy with the way
things are happening. Yeah. I mean, you have
we are human.
You have to the well, the Jammeh asset inquiry comes from an NPP member.
So you see.
But also the
motion.
Yeah, but also
it's because of the pressure.
Yeah, but also I had
from the Gala youths.
I had, but also the resolution for investigation into the Russian oil comes from a national NRP member.
NRP affiliated to the ruling party.
Affiliated to NPP. So there has been some movement.
So that will tell you, some of the members are not happy with the dealings of the executive, and maybe even though they would want the executive to address some of these matters as expected, and they're not doing it now. They're taking the bull by its horn.
So shouldn't there be a standard procedure? Maybe the parliament could fight this more, where government is required to publish every public works contract. And because right now they are not. The ports contract with whatever the name is, the Turkish company, it's not public. Nobody knows anything about it.
And there is a need to really understand all of these things.
And
but also, Parliament have an oversight on some of this.
But Parliament does not have a copy, do you? Or have you seen a copy?
The committee should have a copy.
Which committee? On works or
yeah,
what?
On works.
They should have a copy of the ports contract.
Yes, because they even travel with some of the committee members.
They travel?
The Public Enterprise Committee.
To where?
I think to Turkey.
Oh. And at the behest of the company?
I would assume. Or at the behest of Gambia Ports Authority.
That's interesting.
Yes.
But then there are a number of contracts that, but it's not public because I haven't seen it. And just recently we have.
I think I should be in a position to get you one.
Yeah, yes. Because we tried to get even the contract for car power ship, and instead NAWEC giving us a contract, right, which we started applying by December 2024.
I administered few questions on car power.
Instead of NAWEC giving us a contract, they gave us an explanatory note.
A summary, that's what they would do.
Yeah, explanatory note of the contract. That's not what the law says.
As if you cannot distinguish.
Yeah, the ATI is clear. I'm asking you for the contract. Give me the contract.
As if you cannot read and digest the content.
You are, yeah. So that takes us back to the issue of transparency. I mean, maybe if we have a little bit more transparency,
right,
perhaps that would be.
That will ease a lot.
Yes, perhaps.
Because, if everyone understands that whatever we are doing is in the open, we will all urge to be careful in our dealings. You have talked about this GPPA guy having an enterprise in his name.
Yeah, GPPA.
If you conduct a research, most of our institutional heads, this is how they operate. It's either you have your private business that is related to what procurements your office or institution does on regular basis, or your wife or your relative. So this is why here business is not flourishing.
Well, we also have a situation where, for example, we've talked about the issue of supervising pharmacists. We have a situation where medicine, the government purchase of medicine gets delayed all the time.
Yes.
And one of the reasons you can argue is the key beneficiaries of the delay in government procurement of medicine are the pharmacists.
Exactly.
And the people who are in charge of the procurement of government medicine at the central medical store are also supervising pharmacists.
Right.
So the same conflict. So they are beneficiaries.
They will bring in delay tactics to ensure government have a delay, but also we have to be fair. This government, they always have a problem in terms of executing budget. They will always tell you we are short in finance. Do your findings, even with the tractors that are meant for farmers, there is a budget for it that you need to purchase 180 tractors. And you already committed to sign a contract and also paying 50% of the contract until at a later part you change to say Ministry of Finance said they don't have the money, and you can only commit to 25% of the funds, whilst you are spending millions on political gatherings without complaining that you have budget constraints. So the problem also we have is what we prioritize as a nation.
Or also that we
because
are.
If we cannot prioritize health, we cannot prioritize education, we cannot prioritize health, Where are we now?
But all these resolutions that you and I have talked about here, they not just talk about mismanagement, they're also talking about waste,
Yes.
wasteful expenditure.
Yes. And leakages.
Yeah.
By
And
extension.
so if you are also able to have waste, you're not going to be able to, or you're always going to have difficulty in having money.
Yeah, that is true. That is quite true, because if you cannot manage the little resources you have, rather than allowing either leakages or waste, as embedded in some of these resolutions, it filter back to you.
Yeah. I mean, the government always don't talk about the increase in revenue for GRA. I mean,
I think all that government do is to actually increase tax on citizens.
yeah, and of
And
course,
on the ordinary citizens, unfortunately.
yeah,
Let's look at, for example, the cement importation thing.
yeah,
And all that they will do is to change nomenclatures.
yeah,
Because, for example, decisions of that nature always requires parliamentary approval. Because, like, if you are levying a tax on an individual, it must be approved by the National Assembly. And now they will just change the nomenclature. Instead to call it, to refer to it as tax, they will tell you a levy. In case they are challenged. But for me, they are all the same.
Yeah, they are all charges.
They are all charges. Exactly my point.
And I mean, I probably think you are looking forward to the Anti-Corruption Commission. They are always talking about it.
Are they doing much in that?
Well, it said they are working on it, and so I mean, how do you rate the government performance in terms of compliance with parliamentary resolutions and also the executives, parliamentary resolutions and also answering parliamentary questions?
For me, if it is 100%, I can give them maybe 30 or 40 in terms of compliance to parliamentary resolutions. Because almost with all the resolutions we have made so far, I think there is only one or two, maybe the AKI, that they have responded to as per the laws of the land. Because for me, that is always my point. We don't just come make resolutions, walk away like that. They are confined around legislations.
Yeah.
So if you can ignore those laws because you are the executive, because you are the minister, you are the president, then you are not still doing justice. And for me, that's where accountability should begin. Because that brings in effectiveness and efficiency in our institutions. And this is what exactly lacks in our institutions. Coming to parliamentary questions in terms of, let's say, ministries giving fitting answers, for me that also lacks, because the executive know or understand very well that those questions are meant to address issues. And those questions are meant to bring them to account as one of our oversights. They always tend to hide a lot. They always tend to hide a lot. I have, in fact, questions that I leverage back to the table office or to the office of the clerk. Let me just be specific to say, I have asked A, B, C, D, I'm given answers, but A, B, C, D is not given. Because for me, my belief is anytime I ask for questions, I ask for evidence.
Yeah, provide evidence for X, Y, and Z.
Provide evidence for X, Y, Z in terms of transactions. In case you said you procured 100 tractors, I ask you to provide me evidence of the bidding
Contracts, bidding documents,
contract, exactly. Payments, and if possible, the bill of loading. Because for me, I lack that trust in them. let's take the media, whatever
Service
as an,
contract.
yeah, exactly. I think I got over 7 answers from doctor, from 38 million, 37 million, 40 million, 41 million, you know, you name it.
Yeah.
And anytime you ask for evidence, it becomes difficult.
Yeah.
Until at the end, you know, yeah, he was able to share a whole pamphlet with me that has the contracts and the payments and everything. But now the challenge is, where is the source of the money? We want to
Yeah.
know. We want to know if it is the government
And the budget line
and the
and
budget line and
all
everything.
of
Because
that.
if your
Yeah.
budget line is 40 million and the media contract is, let's say, above that 40 million, where are you getting that money?
Yeah. That's
And
critical.
in terms of violence, you cannot via such an amount. It's nowhere in our laws.
It's critical to
It's
understand
very
that.
critical. So for them, for me, them hiding information is deliberate, because they knew very well that the things that they are doing behind the scene are illegal, are nowhere confined to the laws of our lands.
Okay. So I think I've kept you for too long, and would end it here, Honorable Jammeh, and hopefully would have this another time.
Thank you, brother.
And yeah, and for you out there, have a very good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.